Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I am going to show you guys how I apply my Jamberry nail wraps and give you a few tips and tricks along the way that may help with your application. Different things work differently for different people. People have different pH levels, so try a few different tips and see what works best for you. The biggest tip that I will tell you to begin with is nail prep is key. Following the nail prep guidelines is very, very important. What I do when I nail prep, I already showed you how to remove the Jamberry nail wraps. I always remove using olive oil, which helps soften the cuticle when you go to take it off. So with the oil still on, I've already done it on my nails because I've started applying. But when the nail oil is still on there, the olive oil, I take either a metal cuticle pusher or a rubber cuticle pusher with a plastic end and really scrape away all of the cuticle all the way around the nail. Now, you may have heard some people mention before an invisible cuticle, and if you haven't, you should be aware of it when applying your wraps because it can really, it's just like applying it to skin and you can't see it as well. The cuticle really runs all the way around the nail and you may not see it. So when you're scraping the cuticle off, you really want to make sure, without scraping the nail, that you get all that cuticle off. So that's why the oil is very helpful. Or you could use a cuticle remover. But you really want to make sure that the invisible cuticle all the way around is removed. So the wrap is really adhering to nail and not to skin, which that's what a cuticle is. So once you have all of that removed, wash your hands really, really well with Dawn dish soap or any sort of degreasing dish soap, not a hand soap, but you don't want moisturizers in it. You really need to get the oils off of your nails. And then wipe your nails down with an alcohol wipe. You can get these, you can buy the Jamberry kind, or you can get these in local drugstore. They're really cheap for just a package of them. And wipe your nails down really, really well with alcohol. After that, this is an optional step, but it works really well for me. I put on the Jamberry top coat, so the strengthening base coat, I use the Jamberry strengthening base coat underneath mine. So I put that on. It really dries very quickly, about 5 minutes or so, and then buff. So I use a Jamberry nail block buffer, but you can use any buffer, not a super coarse buffer, and I buff over the entire nail. So then I am buffing the strengthening base coat instead of buffing my nail. So then you're able to rough it up a little bit so the wrap sticks easier, but you're doing it on the strengthener. So after I do that, I wipe my nail again with the same alcohol wipe just to get the excess off and to just do one more swipe of making sure there's no oils anywhere on my nails. And when I apply my wraps, I try to leave the middle. So this is a half of a sheet. I cut it in half and then use this half. You can tell I've already started applying some. And because the backing is clear, I can just line my nail up behind and see which one fits. So I know, I've done it enough that I know which ones fit my nails, and this one is the one that fits my pointer finger. So I line it up like that, and I can tell where I need to cut it on the wrap. So then I leave those middle pieces that I can then use for pedicures later. And I have very short nails. I prefer to keep my nails shorter. If you have longer nails, you may need to use more of the middle. So after I cut the wrap off with still the backing on it, you never want to touch the adhesive with your fingers because that would put finger oils onto it and make it less likely to stick. So to get it off, I take an orange stick and just squeeze right underneath between the wrap and the backing. Lift it up a little bit and then just push across. So then the wrap is sticking to the orange stick and not to my finger. Then I put it in front of a heat source. You can use a blow dryer. I prefer the Jamberry mini heater. It is hands-free because it has the stand on it and it's very quiet. You can hear it's on right now. So it's easier to do. I like to do my nails after my boys go to bed, so it's easier for the quietness of it and the hands-free. So you hold it in front of the heat source for 3 to 5 seconds. And you can tell it gets a little bit pliable and flimsy. And then apply it to your nail right above the skin. What are you doing in front of the camera? So right above the skin, you do not want the wrap to touch any part of your skin. It's much better to have little slivers of nail showing than it is for it to touch your skin, because that is what will cause the lifting. And when I put them on, so see, I set it on and it's very close to the cuticle, or to the cuticle line. And then I pull my skin back and push it up underneath. It makes it easier to get it closer to where you see there's a small sliver of nail left. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. And then you put pressure with your thumb, and then it's on. After that, I hold it in front of the heat source again for another 3 to 5 seconds or so, until you can't handle the heat. And then pull. Especially if you have any bubbling on the sides, it helps to reheat and pull, and it'll pull out those bubbles. Then I let this cool completely before doing anything else with it. So I'm going to go back to this finger and show you the next step. So while this one's cooling, I'm going to go back to the one I did prior, before I started videoing. I then take my finger and put it into any Ziploc bag, it doesn't matter the brand, and pull very, very tightly over my fingernail. So there's pressure. And then I put it back in front of the mini heater for another 3 seconds or so. Okay, take it off, and then take the rubber cuticle pusher and push all over the nail. Just like that. Paying very close attention to the tips and all of the edges. And that will help give you a really good seal. You can also heat a rice bag and heat the rice bag and push it all over it, so then that's heat and pressure again at the same time. That's very helpful. Another thing that I'll do sometimes, especially if I have bubbles on the sides or any buckling, is I'll heat either some tweezers or I'll heat my metal cuticle pusher in front of the mini heater. I like this type of spoon cuticle pusher because it does match the shape of my nail, and I can take it and sort of push on it, and that will help seal it as well. So then that's enough time for this to be cooled completely. So I'm going to go back to this one. I trim it. Some people use scissors. I use fingernail clippers, and I just trim right up next to the nail. Not cutting the nail yet. Just right up next to where my nails are. Now I prefer, like I said before, shorter fingernails. So whenever I do my nails, I cut just a little bit of the growth off, and that helps for a smooth finish on the end. And I think especially if you are truly wearing your nail wraps for 2 weeks, which I usually do, you can still keep some of the length by trimming off the ends like that. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one, put it in the baggie in front of the heat source again, and give it a good seal. So wrap it in the baggie. Like that, very tight, back in front of the heater. Move, and then the rubber cuticle pusher, and push all over the nail. Again, you can use a rice bag, you could use a heated tweezers. The sparkly wraps, these are not sparkly, but the sparkly wraps do require a little bit more heat, so I usually do this process a couple of times with those at the end, just to make sure that they have a good seal on them. And that's it. Manicure done. So pretty easy. There's just really the most important part is nail prep. a lot of people that have trouble with them not staying on. It's following all those steps of nail prep. And really, once you get good at it, it takes 2 or 3 times of practice to get a good set. And you can probably finish it in about 15 or 20 minutes, which is awesome considering it lasts for 2 full weeks. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me through Facebook at Jam with Stephanie Grace, or via email, jamwithstephaniegrace@gmail.com. And go out and order some wraps and practice on your own. You can order at my website at jamwithstephaniegrace@jamberrynails.net. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing all of your beautiful Jambicures.